We're back for our second episode and we landed a name, Relatable Rakyat.
Relatable
right?
Rakyat, yeah.
What do you think, Imran?
I think it's a very relatable title for a podcast.
It is a relatable title, and I think that is the whole ethos of the show, to talk about stories with our beloved guests, let them share their insights, and hopefully our audience can relate to their story. But boy, we landed the big whale for the second episode.
We kind of got like a lot of positive responses from the first episode, so thank you so much for that.
Yes.
And to our friends and family. And we somehow got the attention of someone big, a big name. This guy is like all the way from Canada, was it?
He's from Canada. He has the #1 movie worldwide.
Right now, yeah.
Right? And boy, and he is a legend, right?
Yeah.
He is a big legend, and he is also like the co-owner of Wrexham Football Club. He is, Hollywood legend, the man himself, all the way from Toronto, Canada. Today he will be our honorary rakyat. So everyone, please welcome Tan Sri, Datuk Seri, Dr. Ryan Van City Reynolds. Yo!
What's up, baby?
Oh man, how are you? Ryan
What's
Reynolds,
up?
man.
The relatable Rakyat? Damn!
When did you land KL?
Dude, I was here since way before Deadpool and Wolverine, man.
Really?
Promoting the damn movie.
Where were you?
Yeah.
I didn't see you.
Myvi, didn't you see me?
My-
Oh,
Maybe.
yeah. I saw that video.
Jeez.
That was him?
That was
Oh my
him.
God, Malaysia is
Just
so
found out.
panas.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta take this stuff out, man.
Sure.
Yeah, let's see your handsome face.
Yes.
It's Man Alive. People Magazine says a Man Alive. I think what? 2009, 2011? I'm not so sure.
2008, baby. 2008.
Okay.
It's been a while, but he's still handsome.
He's still handsome.
Together with Hugh Jackman, of course.
Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, Hugh Jackman, man. I haven't seen the movie though, sorry.
Oh,
You have not seen my movie?
I'm sorry, man. I'm really, really sorry.
Why
don't
should
have
I
the
even
time.
show you my face? God damn.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I know you guys are excited. We're waiting for him as well to show his sexy
unmask.
face. This who big like. Wait a minute, Louis? What? Oh man,
I think we got catfish,
Wow,
bro.
that was.
we got catfish. This is like my Tinder experience, man.
This is better than Ryan Reynolds, man. Come on. Come on.
I mean,
Yeah.
Jeez.
the white guy privilege is not there. So,
Right.
yeah.
That is true. That is true. But I am half white, so.
Okay.
so
Yeah.
That counts, I guess. In Malaysia,
counts.
that's something. Yeah.
All right. So we have a special guest, still special. He is, I believe you are the head of Rakyat Post, right? For head of video for Rakyat
Wave
Post.
Media, yeah.
He is a very prominent cosplayer in the Malaysian cosplay scene. We have Louis Dorall. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me on your show. Second episode.
Yeah.
So proud of you guys. When I saw the first episode, I was like, I have to be there. I gotta be there, man.
Now you're here.
got it.
Yeah, no, you're here, man.
So thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem.
No problem. Thank you for
You're
coming.
such an inspiration to me. I don't know about Imran.
Oh, you are. It is, yeah.
Yeah, I think you are such a creative guy, and I would like to get your insights on few topics. We are friends, childhood friends. We knew each other for more than 20 years.
Long time.
For
Long
more
time.
than 20 years, right? And so let's take it back to the beginning, Louis. Back to the beginning, right? Growing up, Louis, you are someone of a mixed race, right? From your father's side, you're Eurasian. From your mom's side, you're a Filipino, but
so-
you're full-blood Malaysian.
Yeah. Yes, I have blue IC. So if any of the production crew, okay, I have IC, all right? So if the police comes out of nowhere and whatnot, just tell them I'm Malaysian. But yeah, I'm. My dad's English German. My mom is Filipino, and then I am born here. So I am as Malaysian as you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Jeez, I can vote. I can vote. Whatever. Yeah. Just a little fun fact. My family is not just one generation or what. From my father's side, the Dorall side, Louis Dorall. I am related to the Sir Francis Light.
Francis Light of Penang.
of Penang, who discovered Penang. So yeah.
You always go back to Penang?
Yeah. Once in a while, especially after the marriage.
Oh, you're not, okay.
Stepping forward.
Sorry, ladies. He's already taken.
I think probably when they're watching this already, it's like, oh, okay, thank God.
Right. But how is it being someone who's like mixed race parentage, growing up in Malaysia? How was that experience like?
Very interesting. I mean, especially because, again, other than being mixed race, it's also like, of course, being my family is being Catholic, Christian, and things like that, right? But not necessarily strict Christian or anything. It's just that it's a very interesting point of view, especially when growing up in like places like Taman Melawati, who are predominantly Malay as well. Actually, quite mixed, but still predominantly Malay and things like that. And having to learn Malay and really having to get used to it. I remember a great example is when my parents tried to send me for football class in Melawati. But because I didn't really understand Malay, it was very hard for me to pick it up. Like kids would pick on me because I just don't understand, right? Pergi sana is like, for me, I'm like, what? As a little Louis and things like that. But an interesting challenge. But a great way to learn you guys as well, so
I can relate a little bit to the getting picked on by, based on how you look. And based on
correct, because you're
and I would get picked on as well. Like I would have to prove my Malayness.
Yes.
To speak the language and mengucap sometimes.
Mengucap, like say the prayer,
say
right?
like a prayer for Muslim or something.
And I guess in a way, because like I have also a few friends, right? Because they're Muslim, right? But then their Malay is not so good. So then people would be like, hey, how can that be?
Yeah.
It should be together. It should be one and the same, right? But no, not necessarily. But, But being Malaysian with a blue IC and a passport, you should know the national language. That is true.
Yeah, we'll definitely.
You must. You should.
Deep dive on that,
Especially when you grow older, right?
Correct.
When it comes to taxes,
Oh,
law, if anything happens, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And you went to international school.
Yes.
And
so again, a lot of people would be like, okay, that's why he doesn't know Malay, right? Because he went to international school. No, it's just that I didn't have enough practice.
Yeah.
Considering that you guys spoke very good English whenever we would meet up when we were kids.
We're half Jewish though.
Yeah.
No, just joking.
Yeah. But international school, Safe All International School in Ampang.
Yeah.
So yeah.
How was that experience? Like studying in international school, you meet a lot of people from different.
Amazing, yes. Meet a lot of people from all over the world. You wouldn't see. That's the thing. As I was growing up, I thought it was normal, right? They went to SMK. A lot of my friends now also they went to SMK or Chinese independent school or even Tamil school. I thought it was normal. I thought it was normal to be growing up with a lot of Koreans. I thought it was normal to be growing up with a lot of Iranians because Saifal had a lot of Koreans and Iranians. But on top of that, internationals like white kids, Asian kids, English-speaking, westernized kids with IGCSE syllabus, right? So I thought that was very normal. But then growing up, realizing that actually no. That's not normal, and that I do have a unique point of view, whereby, growing up and knowing these different cultures, and then coming to you guys and like assuming that you guys would also know those cultures, also know those etiquettes and things like that.
Yeah.
For example, back in school, it would be so normal to hug each other every time. Good morning, hey, girls, guys, whatever. Right? In betweens. Is that okay?
It's
fine. It's fine.
Okay. Yeah, my producer over there is like, right? But basically like it's normal to hug. But when I started going to college, and then I wanted to hug my classmates because bye, see you.
Yeah.
Especially like from the Chinese independent school, they were like, not to say they were not used to it. They're only used to it if you're a friend.
Okay.
But in Saifal International School or international schools, we're very used to like even acquaintance, right? It's just, it's a hug. A hug is a hug. Hello and goodbye.
I see.
But, yeah.
Anybody hug you in school, Imran?
Other than you, no one else, bro.
Did I hug you? No.
We did.
I did?
I think we did.
Okay, let's just stop here. Let's change the topic.
I want to touch a bit on the international thing because I also had experience in that. I started school with in international school, Sri Utama.
Oh, Sri Utama, nice.
That's like a fake international school, right?
No, come on.
No, Sri U.
Yeah.
Sri Utama students, come on. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Sri Utama is dead now. It's been demolished. But yeah, I felt the way I felt. Like, it was a culture shock when I moved from that school to a local school. The hugging thing, the boys and girls just mix around. Like, there's no problem with it.
Yes, no problems
Over
at
here,
all.
it's like you have to line up separately, and I never understood that why. Especially like when you're like young, like in primary school, like why would you separate the kids by gender? Like, it doesn't make any sense. High school, you can kind of make an argument, but still, it's a bullshit thing. But I get what you mean. We hug each other. We just just
And then again, one of the biggest things is race.
Race,
right?
yeah.
So knowing through them, and I'm sure if you guys watch episode 1 as well, and things like that, and if you guys experience when when you guys were growing up, right? Depending on what schools they came from in primary school, for example, vernacular schools and things like that, you tend to see people hang around their own race. But in international school, again, I grew up with that. We grew up a bit with that. Is that people were all together, champo. It didn't matter. Is the main thing is whether or not you got along each other, right? It didn't matter what color. I was hanging around with a black guy. His name is Simba. Like, you can't make that shit. You can't make that shit up. His name was Simba.
Really?
All right? Yeah, his name was Simba. No, his dad's name was not Mufasa.
I was about to ask that.
Exactly.
right? Racist, bro.
He's such a nice guy. Such a nice guy. Still keep in touch a bit on Facebook. I still have him on Facebook. But yeah, but so normal and things like that. But apparently in SMKs and things like that, not the same.
Not the same.
Not the same.
Not the same.
And therefore, my lens, especially coming out to the working world or college, and then eventually the working world, my lens also is very different, right? I always assumed people would know what's going on the other side. I would assume people would know all these the little things that different races do, and not necessarily kowtow or not necessarily bend. Necessarily, it's more like, okay, we'll do our own thing, but then we can always come back. But not the same, because in the working world, it's like, okay, this group will just continually do one thing, and then the other group will continue. Okay, for example, food, the universal lifeblood of Malaysia, food, right? Every time you ask somebody, what's the best thing about Malaysia?
Nasi
right?
lemak.
Food, nasi lemak, blah blah blah, and things like that, right? But food, people would segregate. People would halal. People would haram, right? Things like that. So yeah, interesting.
Yeah,
very interesting.
I wanted to ask you because you've been in the media industry for nearly 10 years, right?
Yes.
Right, and you would see Malaysia through the lens of the articles, whatever that's being said or being published by not just your own company but other sites as well. Like, how does that Malaysia look like?
Oh man.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things you have to, especially when you're working in the media world.
Yeah.
There's the behind the camera or
Di
behind
balik,
the.
di sebalik tabir, is it in Malay, right?
Sebalik tabir.
Di sebalik tabir.
Behind the scenes.
Sorry.
So basically, like behind the articles and in front of the articles, right? It's how people read it, how it looks like, and how it actually looks like, how it's allowed to look like, things like that, right? Because there are a lot of issues, the 3 R's that you cannot really touch. You have to tiptoe around, things like that. Even though sometimes it is directly related.
The 3 R's are, just to be clear, it's a race, religion, and what was it?
And royalty.
Royalty.
Okay.
Tuanku.
Yep. Let's just keep it that way.
Yeah, right. But yeah,
Cancelled, man.
but really, there's a big difference, and especially for many of us in our age group, and even the younger ones as well. Like, we're becoming much more westernized, much more westernized. Because growing up with not only media like Marvel and things like that, but social media like TikTok and whatnot. So we know a lot of Western politics or whatever, and many a times it is the same. There is always a front. There is always a point of view, right? Whether or not it's blue or red, whether or not it's left or right, whether or not it's liberal or conservative, right? So yeah, it's even here, same thing. Of course, many things naturally has to lean a certain way, especially here in Malaysia. It is not as free as the States, for example. As our dear glorious leader, past leader, twice, Mahathir said, right? You have freedom of speech, but you are not free of the consequences of that speech.
That's a very American line, though, right?
Yeah, it is. It is very. You have freedom of speech. We as humans have the right to the freedom of speech, but you are not free of the consequences that come from that speech, if there's any, right? So yeah, but media really there is definitely what is presented and what is behind. Yeah. And it is up to you whether or not you want to be well informed.
Yeah.
To read between lines, to sort of make sure that you're educated and you're steadfast, I guess.
I see. Yeah. I have a bit of a rant. I have a bit of
comes.
I have a grievance when it comes to the local media, right?
Hashim's famous rants, okay?
It's rare to hear Hashim rant, by the way.
Okay. We are blessed to have this podcast because let's go.
Yeah, because nowadays when I go to social media, whether it's like Instagram or Facebook, and I follow, certain accounts that, news publishing site, right?
Yeah, my producer is telling me I got to take my medicine. I got to take my medicine, man. Yeah.
Yeah. So like I follow, a lot of online publishing news, and most of them, I won't mention any names, right? I won't mention any names. Most of them are just posting bullshit clickbaity stories. Sometimes it's just a report from like Twitter, right? It's saying that, hey, this person tweeted this. And come on, man, this is not journalism. So it's not about journalism anymore. It's about trying to get followers, trying to basically give eyeballs to the advertisers, right? And to me, there's it's not, I can't get good quality news anymore from all these accounts. So
for the past 10 years, it has gotten much worse, right? It is definitely literally that. It's basically just clicks. Because at the end of the day, back then newspapers, right? Physical media, we would just open the newspapers, we'd read. It's whatever the writers, the journalists, the editors, the stakeholders, of course, at the end of the day, the stakeholders of the newspaper, and then the so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But now, online media, right? Anything can be written, anything about anything.
Correct.
And what he says, like little Twitter things, somebody just says something on Twitter and then boom, an article comes out.
Yep.
And things like that. And it's just clickbaity. It is just farming clicks for no other reason. It is playing onto making people angry for no other reason.
Yes.
No better reason. It is detracting from actual news for no reason.
Yeah.
Or maybe for some reason. Right? But yeah, and that's the issue. For the past 10 years, it has infected all media. Because at the end of the day, we have to make money to keep paying, right? Payroll, right? And how do you make money? It's from KPI. And what's the KPI? Views, engagement. But even then, now things have changed, right? KPI can be faked, right? Views, engagement, comments, the dead internet theory where actually most of the comments are just bots, right? Likes can be bought. Views can be bought. So what is the real KPI now? What's the real ROI now? So that is something that we're all trying to figure out. BuzzFeed, for example, online portals in the West, they've started moving forward towards more subscription-based, things like that. And you can see it all across, right? Streaming services, blah, blah, blah. So subscription may be the next ROI or KPI. But for now, right, going back to basically the views and things like that, because of we need views, guys. We need viral, guys. We need viral. What's happening? Okay, there's a Deadpool on a Ivy. Okay, viral. Right about that. Okay,
is that the mindset? I mean, in
generally no.
Publishing.
Generally,
online companies no.
So no, that's the thing. Most people know. Most journalists, most writers, most editors, most bosses, they're like, no. Views is good, but we don't want stupid stuff. Okay. We don't want to keep putting stupid stuff because it also erodes our viewers. It degrades our reputation, right? We all of us have says, well, the Buzz, the Rakyat Post, Buzzkini, all these different publications, whatever. At the end of the day, we're all beholden to our viewers, and we want to make sure we put out good quality content and things like that. But good quality content doesn't necessarily bring in views.
Understood.
So that's where that balance comes in, or that sort of, okay, out of one good story about something that happened in some investigative journalism that's happening in KL regarding the Rohingyas, for example. I'm just throwing something out there. Then we have one deep story, 4 quote unquote stupid stories.
Okay.
Right?
There's a ratio.
Yeah, there's a ratio. So to just get those views. If that story blows up, great job.
Yeah.
That's a good job. Got firm handshakes all around. Okay, here's a cookie, no raise, right? But other than that, you need to pad it. We have no choice but to pad it with those 4:1 ratio. Things like that. And what it is called, yellow journalism. That's basically it for the past 10 years. Biased, unsubstantial, random, just clickbaity, just nonsense.
Especially if it's like online, right? Because I want to touch upon a bit. I think the term there is called rage bait.
Rage bait, meaning like to
basically
piss off the
you
people.
you get people pissed off.
Hey, look at
engage
this
with that
Type C issue.
Yeah.
And then immediately Malay people be like, oh, okay, what is the Type C doing this time? And then the Type C people be like, okay, what did we do? What did we do this time, right? And whatnot. And then Indian people are just like, right?
Indians are always ignored, by the way.
Yeah.
For good or for worse, they're always ignored. But yeah, I want to touch upon something. A few days back, I came across this article about, I just skimmed through it, about back in 2012, they did a study on Facebook's algorithm. They basically use emotions to kind of get you to engage with their content.
Yeah.
And they put things that get you pissed off the most. And there's another reason, I think it was a viral clip on Instagram. There was a girl who saw a post on Instagram and she saw the top comment. It was basically bashing on women, right? But then when her partner took out his phone, saw the same video, the top comment was bashing his gender.
Oh, okay. So it's personalized.
And I get that right now.
Really?
Especially when I'm looking on like things about Biden or whatever. And because I happened to be watching videos where Biden was slipping up and things like that. So the algorithm assumes that I am Donald Trump supporter and things like that. So then I would get comments that are just absolutely just like, right-winged and things like that. So yeah, it really, and that lends to the dead internet theory. But really, for the past 10 years, that's basically it. Because of algorithms like that informed publications like us who use platforms like Facebook, Instagram, or whatever. So it's because of rules or algorithms set by them that made us pivot towards trash.
I think it's also like you can point the finger to social media companies as well, right? Because they're making the product more addictive. Especially when you're young and you're
impressionable
and you're basically unconscious, right? You're just doom scrolling, clicking on stuff that is basically the low-hanging fruit.
Yes.
For example, I mean, I have to be honest. Like if I'm on IG, I go to my explore page and I see like clips of girls dancing, sexy girls, whatever. I mean, it will catch my attention and I will probably click. I won't like it, but I click it enough so that that's what's gonna pop up into my feed, right?
And it can also be as virile as you just scrolling, and you just happen to stop a little bit longer, a little bit, like 1 millisecond, 1 second, on a girl dancing, and then you continue scrolling. It assumes like, oh, okay, Hashim likes these girls dancing or whatever. Let's show him more. Give him more. Right?
And you're just stuck in that loop forever, right?
Yes.
Because it's not easy to break a bad habit, right?
I'm a motorcyclist. Okay, how about no? Before we even get to motorcyclists, because I'm sure they'll get into it. I like Deadpool, right? I want to watch clips about Deadpool, for example, Deadpool cosplay, right? So I see one video about Deadpool, and suddenly my feed is all Deadpool. But I'm not just Deadpool, right? I'm me. I'm Louis. I'm more than just the suit, guys. Come on. Gee. God.
Speaking of the suit, that's a very nice suit.
Thank
though.
you very much.
Let's talk
Thank
about cosplay. Imran, you also are
alright.
trying to get into cosplay, right?
Yeah, I was trying to.
Okay.
The word that is trying.
Okay.
Trying is good.
My initial idea was because right now we have Animangaki going on.
Yes, AMG. Instead of being there, I'm here.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, okay,
I'm
thank
here.
you.
The podcast
Thank you.
is happening right now. Friday,
Thank you.
Saturday, Sunday at
Satay,
the
eh?
Mines. Yeah, Satay. See, already so hungry. At the Mines. So yeah, right. But
Yeah.
I'm here.
So yeah, I was trying to. My first idea
Oh,
of
man.
cosplaying is
I gotta take my medicine again. You gotta press the stop button. Yeah. There's a stop button. Yeah, there you go.
Are you sick
Yeah.
like Deadpool?
Well, I just came back from Cameron Highlands, so
Oh,
it's,
okay.
yeah.
Well,
explains a lot.
Deadpool is sick in a manner of speaking, but in terms of me,
Yeah.
yeah, a bit.
Okay.
A bit. I mean, can you tell? But
I mean, your voice sounds sexy all the way.
thank you very much. Yeah.
So what was I? I was saying my first foray into cosplay was going to be Billy Butcher,
Oh
the
my
boys.
god.
the boys,
yeah,
because I have the hair, the beard. I just need a jacket.
fucking diabolical.
Yeah, I just need a jacket and
Yeah, leather
crowbar.
dust. You have the beard. Oh
I have
my
the beard,
god.
right? Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes.
And I like saying the word cunt. So
Oh, okay. Yeah.
All right.
Strike one.
What's the strike one?
I'm keeping count, guys. I'm keeping count. Let's
This is
keep
not an
it
R-rated show, is it?
PG
Right?
13.
I mean, we have Deadpool, so
Right?
it is R-rated.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
I
but
guess
there's no
you-
blood or anything. I've got
right.
bananas.
Not yet.
All right.
But yes, no, but really,
Yeah.
like many a times that is cosplay, especially so. The difference now, cosplay from then till now, right? If I can say, since my experience is since 2010, I guess 2008 to 2010 is basically Taobao, China,
Yeah.
mass produced. People can just buy a costume from Shopee, Lazada, and it will be shipped to you in a week. If it's already here, it'll be with you the next day. If your favorite game is Genshin, for example, your costume will come in the next day, and you can already wear the costume, and it looks already really good. But back then, you'd have to make your costume. Back then, you couldn't really buy unless Toys R Us had it, right?
Yeah.
But you had to make your costume, or instead of making it, you piece by piece, right? You put it together. So if you find a leather duster, a long leather jacket, and you put it on, and then you find sunglasses and you put it on, and then if you close that jacket, you could be the Matrix,
Yeah.
Yeah.
all right? For example, at that time, right? And then if you open it up, you take off the sunglasses. If you what does Butcher have as a prop?
The crowbar.
I'm not so sure. I know the
Like
trench
guns,
coat.
I guess,
Guns.
and the accent. But if you put these on, but basically you part by part, things like that. That's how cosplay actually is, and that's how I also got started. One of my first cosplays is Scorpion from Mortal Kombat.
I remember that.
Yeah, you guys know Mortal
yeah.
Kombat?
Remember
Yeah,
that?
right? You guys
Yeah.
know, right?
We went
Yes.
to the
Hashim knows because I also went to a comic fiesta with him, right?
Yes, yes,
Yeah?
yes.
First time I saw that was when we were at the, you remember the gaming event, the musical gaming event.
Video Games Live.
Video Games Live.
Video Games Live.
With Tommy
Yeah.
Tallarico,
Tommy
right?
Tallarico,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
And
God!
you were there.
When is
Yeah.
Video Games Live gonna come back? Don't know. But yeah, one of my first cosplays is that, and it's handmade.
Yeah.
Right. I didn't have yellow cloth. I could have gone to Wang Samaju.
Yeah.
Back then, Carry 4.
Yeah.
They had a textile shop.
Aeon big now.
Aeon big now.
Kafu, yeah.
Carrefour.
Carrefour.
Oh, right, France. Franche. Daily France.
Daily France.
Anyways, roti croissant. But yeah, I could have gotten textile or whatever, but I wasn't really good on stitching and things like that. But I was good with paper and tape,
Yeah.
right? Paper and tape. So I would first build the parts with paper, and then I'd use yellow tape because the tape was already yellow colored. So that cloth tape, I would basically tape up those papers and basically made the ninja suit or whatever. And then I just wear black pants. I wore a singlet.
Yeah.
I made also the arm guard, right? And then I wore just a black balaclava, right? Just a simple black balaclava. And then I made that yellow mask and just wore it over that black balaclava. And there you go, Scorpion, handmade.
And how much did it cost, like in total? If you can remember.
If I can remember, I mean, going by prices now, especially because production and the cloth, I would say about $20.
20
You know,
ringgit?
just papers. It could be newspaper that's lying around, free newspaper and things like that, which is very hard to find now. Oh my God. It is so hard to find newspaper nowadays.
Yes, it's true.
Because back then, oh, I want to make something, right? I want to make a wallet. I want to make a suit, a scorpion suit. I just find newspapers.
Yeah.
Right? Especially the free ones like the Sun. And
Sudah
things like
gambar
that.
lama.
Yeah, you can just take it from the stand.
Yeah.
But the Star you had to buy, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so newspaper, tape, done.
Yeah.
But from there, it's obviously how you get better. So what is cosplay? It is a combination of two things.
Costume and playing.
Role-playing.
Play, right? Yes, costume and role playing. Where did it start? The United States. How did it start? Star Trek.
Really?
Because of Star Trek, cosplay started. Because basically,
Convention.
Star Trek conventions,
I see.
people started to just dress up as
Yeah.
Captain Kirk, the crew of the Enterprise, and things like that.
Yeah.
If you any Star Trek fans out there, not the Force,
Make
no.
it so.
Make it so, correct. Yeah, but so just brief history, but in Malaysia, things like that, yes, throughout people were doing costumes, but events didn't really happen until 2000. I mean, it did. There were events, but they were very small. Then they were usually like comic events and anime manga events, but they were never ACG, anime, comics, and games conventions, right? But yeah, costume and role playing. So one aspect is the costume, right? How good is your costume? How accurate is your costume? Things like that. And then after that is how good is your role playing? How well are you able to act like Deadpool, for example, right? So for example, Deadpool, right? You could just wear a spandex suit. That's what you usually see, especially for Spider-Man. It could be a spandex suit. This could be spandex. It's not actually like 3D printed or whatever. But this, for example, is 3D printed, molded. It's got screen printed a fabric. This is actually screen accurate. So that's also another term in cosplay. What does screen accurate mean? Screen accurate means that it is basically as accurate as the materials as what is used on the screen. So what the prop makers or whatever of the production of Deadpool and Wolverine, for example, these are the close to 100% the
Can I
materials
touch it?
of what the actual production uses. Though mine is not necessarily accurate because I've got things that, for example, this is pleather. It's not actual leather, but this is accurate and things like that. And these things cost a bomb. Where did screen accurate really come from? I think, other than Star Trek, would be Star Wars, especially in the States. Does anyone know the 501st Legion?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's a costuming group.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. Cosplay, costuming, right? I know I'm throwing a lot of terms. It's a lot. But costuming is basically the art of the costume and making sure that it's screen accurate, 100%. It is weathered. It looks like it's jumping out of the
Set.
the set of the movie, and that's it. And then cosplay is just the costuming aspect and the play aspect, right? Being able to role play and things like that. But yeah, costuming, especially the 501st Legion, they really push the bar of costuming because they basically like made it a organization, an official organization that they not only do charities or whatever, but they make sure that all costumes they must be held to a certain standard.
Yeah.
People must be vetted, and they must be of clean record.
Yeah.
Then only they can join the 501st.
You can't be a PDF file.
PDF file, you can't. No way. And then join because many a times you would go for birthday parties, or Star Wars events, or what happened recently, Star Wars movie productions like Obi-Wan. Mandalorian.
They hire
501st. Yes, they hired 501st Legion members to come and be stormtroopers because they didn't have enough budget for to build the props for more stormtroopers. So they actually had to get cosplayers to come in, and that is like the dream. You build your cosplay to be as accurate as it is on the screen, and then one day you get invited to be in the screen, and then your costume becomes screen used.
Yeah.
So that's the term: screen accurate and then screen used. So screen used is as if this is a prop from a movie, right? And that's usually what people like to do, especially like very rich people.
Yeah.
They like to collect screen used props,
Yeah.
especially because they have the plaque or the certificate, right, and things like that. So that's the progression that the 501st was able to do. One tidbit: Clone Troopers, right, from the prequels. We love the prequels, right? You love the prequels?
Yeah,
The
a bit.
Star Wars? Episode 1, 2, and 3? A bit?
Yeah.
3?
3, yes.
Yes, 3, yes,
good,
okay.
Right?
I thought you were a fan of Jar Jar Binks, Hashim.
No. That's,
Lisa, come on! Okay,
that's
anyway.
just a cruel rumor started by a very, insecure guy.
Yeah. Hey, but Darth Jar Jar, that was okay. But anyways, instead of segueing to that, but yeah, there were never real clone troopers. The clone troopers in the suits, they were all CGI. But in the flashbacks of certain shows like Mandalorian, Ahsoka, and Obi-Wan, those clone troopers in those flashback scenes are cosplayers.
I see.
So they actually got the cosplayers who did 501st clone troopers come to the show. So they were never. So that's interesting. That's mind-boggling. There were never practical stormtroopers
Before.
at the actual shoot, at the actual production level. But now they were. But they're from cosplayers. So amazing.
So now cosplayers are playing a big role in
Oh
movie
yes,
production.
because literally, what is the natural progression of making costumes?
Freaky sex.
I will
That's a
I will
Malaysian
confirm
radical
nor
answer.
deny that, but you can get into production. You can do prop building. You can do set design. You can do costume building, right? So it actually goes naturally towards advertising, movie production, things like that. So, and freaky sex.
Is that why you're trying to get into cosplay? I mean, to be a screen use cosplayer? Not the freaky sex part,
Screen
right?
used. Sometimes that also sounds weird, right? To be a screen used cosplayer. Do you want to be a screen used cosplayer?
Yeah.
So, I want to be a screen used.
Yeah. Speaking of like cosplay, let me ask you about the cosplay community because
Here in
my
Malaysia.
first impression of cosplay, especially knowing some of them, they're very, they're very passionate people, but very on the introverted side. They're quite shy. They're quite awkward, not necessarily like socially adept. But this could be just a generalization, right?
I mean that. So you're exactly right because many of us who grew up, especially like if you're introverted and things like that, and you didn't necessarily have a good social background and also a good social circle, right?
Yeah.
But where's a safe space? Where was your safe space when you were at home, for example, right? And I'm not necessarily talking about like whether or not you have good friends or what. Maybe you don't necessarily have a good household. So, right, and therefore you would not necessarily grow up with good social strength or things like that, right? You wouldn't be extroverted or whatever. But where is your safe space? Or some people that grew up with NTV or whatever, it would be anime. Some people grew up with games, it would be video games. Some
Yeah.
people grew up with comics and things like that. And the natural progression is that when they found out that there are events where like-minded people, literally like-minded people, and it's like-minded introverted, like-minded autistic, like-minded weird and nerdy and geeky and just overall that is where I feel safe. And then when I go there, I actually do meet like-minded, and everybody's back then everyone was happy to meet each other, and things may go overboard here and there, and I'm sure you guys know because of these kind of social circles and things like that, these kind of people, things tend to go overboard and whatever. But yeah, that scene tends to attract, right? Any hobby has specials, as we'd say, right? People who are very into it, or people who are very meticulous, or people who are very like almost neurodivergent, like very like I can fly drone very good. I'm very good at flying drone, and there must be certain rules to how you fly a drone, and you cannot do this and this and this and this, and you don't talk to me while I fly a drone and whatever. For example, the droning community, drone flying, the FPV community. But when it comes to cosplay as well, right? Again, it's you've got the people who are gun cosplayers. You've got the Western only cosplayers. You've got the anime cosplayers, and then you've got the in betweens. You've got the furries. You've got the You've got the OCs. What is OC?
What's OC?
Original character. People who they're not cosplaying as Deadpool. They're cosplaying as Mati Kolam, like something, not even like a translation. It's like just an original character. Right? Especially because back then, right, people would want to come up with their own characters. They draw their own imaginary friends or they draw themselves, right? And things like that. So for example, if I was really Sonic inclined, Sonic the Hedgehog, then I want to do a Lewis the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
Just type in your name, the Hedgehog, in Google Images. Okay, maybe don't do that because you might find a lot of things.
Okay, I don't know what that is actually.
But basically,
that's my first time hearing about it.
Yeah, but basically, it's a lot of imagination, and this HCG community, the cosplay community, attracts that.
I see.
It attracts people like that because it does give a platform, a place, a safe space for all of people like us who are geeky, nerdy, a little bit autistic or very autistic. It doesn't matter.
Understood.
To come together and celebrate anime, comics, cosplay, games, what have you.
Yeah.
And not be shunned, not be ridiculed. But what has changed? That was like, it could be easily like 10, 15 years ago, right? And then 5 years ago, right? But now, what has changed is that the popular kids have all come in.
Okay.
Right?
Those kids who love Marvel and they don't have
so back then, right, the safe space for the geeks and the nerds would be the ACG communities, right?
Yeah.
What would the popular kids be doing? They'd be playing sports and things like that.
Yeah,
but
the
now, the jocks, right? But now, what would these popular kids want to do? They want to be Insta famous. They want to do content creation, and one of the ways is through cosplay.
Yeah.
Because cosplay can earn you money in different aspects through selling merch, taking part in competitions, blah 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 blah. All
freelancing,
freelancing and things like that. And so all these sort of extroverted, very high energy, very people with money. I'm literally right. Get into this, and the geeky, nerdy, more introverted, more. Again, they're playing second fiddle. They're being dethroned or pushed aside because they're more popular, more handsome, more beautiful, more voluptuous, more fit, more more followers.
Yeah.
Right?
So now it's all about pretty privilege, right? Like that's what I've been noticing. For example, like, if you are in the office, those pretty girls, they'll probably get preferential treatment from the higher ups, and it's easier for them to climb up the ladder. I'm not talking like from my own personal experience, but that's what I'm seeing. Like if you go on LinkedIn, right, you see all these sexy influencers, aka office girls, who are just trying to make a name of themselves. And they're
I definitely can talk from experience because in one of my previous companies.
Oops.
Yeah.
Spill something.
Yeah, it's okay.
Spill something.
She looks really good. She was in sales. All right, we had a very, 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 very good looking sales girl. Very beautiful. She had followers on Instagram and things like that. But she couldn't necessarily service clients very well. She could service
in other ways.
clients very well, but she couldn't necessarily service them in terms of connecting them with production, making sure that the campaigns are running smoothly, idea generation, blah blah blah.
Did you say coming smoothly? I had to go there. I had to spice up the
Is
podcast.
Is that a strike? No. I guess it's
his show, right? So it's not a strike
it's
for him.
innuendo, okay? But but how did she get there? How did she stay there? How did other more talented, much more better, much more industry leading marketing or salespeople come in and go while she still stayed there is because she was very pretty. But the thing is, if I were to look at it from a higher perspective, if I'm from the boss's perspective,
Correct.
there is a time and place for people like her. No doubt. When you want to attract certain clients, for example, sometimes you do need the good looking and the very, because the social lubricant, right?
The low-hanging fruit. I would say the low-hanging fruit, right? Because we're humans, we get easily attracted to shiny things.
Because it loops the socials, right? You can't just necessarily send someone who's very technical to go and talk to the client, and then the client is like, I don't necessarily want to talk about business right now. But that technical person wouldn't be able to tell. But a very good social person, very good person who may not necessarily know anything technical.
Yeah.
But because that person can read the client and basically be like, oh, okay, I get it. I know you don't want to talk about work this time. Okay, let's talk about, what do you want to talk about? You want to talk about Malaysia?
Let's go for limte, you know? Right?
Let's go limte, whatever. And so there's a time and place for people like this. But yeah, if you want an example, there you go. I do have an example where a very, very pretty girl basically just held a job, stayed there while people, really, really good people come in and out. And these are industry, like leading people who came from award-winning agencies, people who came from traditional backgrounds, traditional broadcasting backgrounds. They are like,
I see.
And yet she's
the one.
She's always there.
She's the star.
And sometimes she would fuck up. Sorry, I said it. Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
It's fine,
I said it twice.
Fine.
But the word, I need to say the word because she would fuck up accounts. She would literally, even though she gets the accounts, she gets the client, right? She gets them to sign the IO, for example, right? But down the road, because she doesn't reply their email or the way she talks to them is not nice necessarily or clear. For example, production, right? I'm like one of the producers or editors or directors, right? And I'm like, okay, for the changes to this edit, we wanna because the client said we want higher tempo. They said that the video is low energy. So what does low energy mean? Okay, we think the low energy means the music is a bit too. Let's higher beats per minute. Let's get a song that's higher tempo.
Yeah.
So we go and find a nice song that's a bit more higher energy. Put it in. And then now the edit feels a bit more energetic.
Yeah.
Right? We don't necessarily do faster cuts. We just change the music, right? And then we send it. And then we tell the salesperson or the marketing girl, tell the clients, relay to the clients, because we don't want to necessarily overstep her and talk directly to the clients, right? So we tell her, this is what we did. This is the solution. There you go. But she would just, for example, send the video, the link, for example, the preview link for that draft, and not say anything. And then clients are like, they didn't realize the difference or what, right? And that happened for quite a while, and we didn't realize, and the clients were fed up. They just canceled, for example, right? So that's an example where somebody like who's not necessarily like on top of the game. They're just being busy being social. But then again, you say, but Louis, is she supposed to be good at being social? Therefore, she would be on top of that. Not necessarily. That's also part of the job. The clientele, the servicing post signing, right? Right. For example, when you buy a bike, right? And then the post purchase service is shit, right? Because they, suddenly, like before you buy the bike, they're like, hey, if you get this bike, you get all these things, service, don't worry, mantap, sedap, just buy the bike, down payment, we settle your what's that thing called? Your
road tax.
Your road tax, your insurance, your monthly payment. What's that?
Down payment.
Loan for you. We settle loan for you, and what's it called? But then after you buy the bike,
nothing.
No message. Double tick. Blue tick.
Yeah.
It's the servicing that matters, especially for sales, because especially for any media house or any production or any agency, it's after the sales and it's retaining your client.
Yeah.
You don't want to just one-off them, right? It's just like hello and goodbye, right? You want to keep them coming back because you want them to believe in your product. You You want to also keep on servicing them and keep on giving them something good, making sure a good relationship.
Yeah.
But that she didn't. She didn't have the skills to, you know.
I think that's quite common in, the corporate world. But I'm just interested to understand from you, Imran, right? You're working in the oil rigs and you have to be technically good. There's no bullshit. There's no wayang kulit, or, how we say in Malay. You have to be good because it can be a life and death situation, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, back when I was on an oil rig, basically we are all just a bunch of technical people.
Yeah.
We let all the office guys do all the social stuff. And they do tend to be more good looking than the guys like us who are like
hardworking in the thick of it.
In the thick of it. We're like 4 glasses kind of guys, like basically guys who are like balding. Shit, like those engineers, those
balding and bearding.
Those typical engineers we're talking about, right?
Yes.
Pocket squares.
Okay.
Tucking them up until here.
Wearing Crocs.
Crocs, no.
Crocs. Yeah.
Basically, it's kind of like you said, it's basically we tend to push the pretty privileged people on one end and the technical guys too on the back end. But like you said, it's not about just getting the clients, it's about retaining the client.
Retaining them, keeping them. Because at the end of the day, the let me tell you guys, if you guys are not necessarily in media or whatever, the landscape is very small. It is still very small. All right, when you move around, just because you move from one, for example, if you're like the type of person that's a career climber, for example, not necessarily you stay but you move around, right? Every 1 year, 2 years, you move from production house or agency, you will see the same people. Everyone is the same.
Understood.
I mean, I'm sure it's the same in many different industries, right? Especially in the e-commerce industry.
Same with oil and gas.
Everybody moving around everybody's the same, and word gets around and things like that. So if you proverbially fuck up one client, it could domino effect other clients because all the clients speak to each other, all the agencies speak to each other, all the production houses speak to each other. Right? Many of us know each other. Just because you as a consumer of World of Buzz or MGAG or whatever, just because you feel like I just consume these places because these are my favorite places, doesn't mean that we're all behind the camera, behind the scenes, all talking to each other, sharing information, and just overall, it's a very small industry. So when you start to move around, you start to realize, wow, this place is small. And then, therefore, also the clients are very small. The people that are working in the client side is also very small. You ruin it with one person, you ruin it with many. And it could backfire royally.
Yeah, I think the advice for young people is that when you just entered the workforce, be observant, right?
Be observant.
To understand.
Humble, respect.
To also understand the dynamic between power players so that you know how the game is being played and you can learn to stay out of it and maybe just be in it when you're needed to, but still try to be neutral. I mean, it's such a delicate,
it is
dark art, I would say.
It is a dark art because especially there's a hint of cynicism in it.
Correct.
Right? At the end of the day, as a new grad, when you get out, you have fresh eyes.
Correct.
Right? And you get out to the working world.
Yeah.
And whatnot, and you really want to, give it your all or whatever. But then you have to realize that if you don't play the game right or whatever, you might rub things the wrong way.
Correct.
And people will put you in a box.
Yeah.
And things like that.
Yeah, I want to add something before we switch to another topic. Is that regarding career, right? Now I'm in my early 30s. I've been working for nearly 10 years and I've always been like a very passionate person, very optimistic person in terms of like trying to climb the corporate ladder. But I've been quite, how do I say this, right? I'm no longer interested in playing the game. I'm just gonna do my best and try to progress naturally without, trying to kiss ass or whatever, right?
Because hunt heads or kick.
Yeah, because I noticed that when it comes to promotion or going to another level, it's not about skills. It's never about skill. I think meritocracy is just a way to gatekeep right? Because people who get promoted or get to the top of the ladder, they're usually being pushed by someone who likes them, no matter if they're good or bad. I mean, you've talked about it with that example of yours, right?
Yes, correct. It's many a times it is. Hey, if your boss likes you,
that's it.
That's it. You will go places. You will most likely stay when the round of firings happen and things like that. Yeah. Because you're good, right? You connect. I think that's one of the things. It's not necessarily because you suck your boss good, but it's because you connect with your boss. I think if your boss is able to talk to you and say hi without feeling weird, I think,
Yeah. It's such a that's the thing about like meritocracy, because people keep saying, right,
good and bad.
If you want to be at the top, work hard, work smart, whatever. But no, man, that's not how the game is being played, right?
Yeah. And then of course there comes the point where sometimes you work so hard or whatever, and then you start pushing buttons, and then people start to ostracize you.
Yeah.
Because you're not being a team player. Blah blah blah. Depends. Yeah. Again, at the end of the day, the workforce is very nuanced.
Yes.
It's very nuanced, and it just depends on your workplace culture.
Yeah.
Right. But at the end of the day, I feel exactly the same way.
Correct.
Back then, I was like, I need to move up. From doing small little social media videos to doing, and I really did. Like so just a little history, right? My workplace history, other than like doing freelance or whatever. One of my first places of work is Macam Ya Studios with Danku, Ernest Ng, YouTube. YouTube guys, legends,
Yeah.
and especially now, great legends, and especially now Ernest Ng with his don't like that la bro, and things like that. Great comic series and things like that. Great boss. Oh my god, he was so good. I learned so much. But yeah, from social media videos like those, like skits, top five things, memes and things like that. From there, I went to Maxman TV. Right? So from there, I went to Maxman TV. And what is Maxman TV? Pranks, social experiments, millions and billions of views, videos that are made in America and things like that, working with different production houses to prank, and different clients to prank people and things like that, and blah, 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 blah. But of course, pranks didn't necessarily survive, right? People started blah, blah, blah. And then from there, I switched over to now more news-based, more social videos, socio-economic videos, storytelling. So now in third wave media, which is the Rakyat Post, Buzzkini, several media outlets, and whatnot. As head of production now, right? So I've really progressed and moved up and things like that. But definitely, especially when I was in Maxman TV, that drive to keep pushing and keep whatnot, especially, at that time, is to keep pushing, keep coming up with new ideas, new viral. How do we get clicks? How do we get views? Do we put some sexy girls in the thing? Do we get some Amoy in a bikini, or do we get some Malay girl who she might take out a hijab or something? It's like, something controversial or whatever, because at the end of the day, views, right? Not necessarily anything good, right? I mean, what I just said was not necessarily good, but at the end of the day, it was views. Push. Push the envelope, push the boundaries, push. So, but then it came to a certain point that is, now I want to have fun. Can you have fun and push? Yes. But there is a certain ceiling to that as well. But I want to have fun also outside of work.
Especially
growing
now.
Myself outside of work. Yes, especially now, right?
We're in our 30s.
Exactly. Where we're not young anymore. The things we used to do or used to be able to, we can't just do it anymore. We're getting more and more short, short-tempered. For me, I don't know about you guys, because things like jam is getting worse. Cost of living is getting worse. The outlook of the world, the world's events, things that are happening in Palestine, things that are happening in the States, things that are happening in media, things that are happening in Malaysia, right? It's just constantly like waves of negativity or whatever. And then because I'm working in news as well now, right? And it's just being in front of it, seeing it, and having to craft around it. You see, you can't necessarily say that things are bad, right? That's why sometimes when you see movies, right, and then you see people like, why don't you tell why don't you tell your viewers? Tell them that a meteor is coming.
Oh, that movie.
Yeah, the Leonardo
Don't Look
DiCaprio,
Up.
right? Yeah, Don't Look Up. Tell them the truth. Why don't you tell them the truth? Because sometimes you just can't. Because it's the law, for example. But sometimes also because because you don't want to cause issues. You don't want to cause panic. You don't want to cause speculation. Because people love to speculate. Malaysians love to speculate. For example, the recent divorce of Harith Iskandar, whatnot. If anyone saw our video, our exclusive interview with Harith Iskandar and Dr. Jessamine on the Rakyat post, right? We are the ones who did the bombshell interview where they revealed about their divorce and things like that. But the main thing is that the reason why they did it is because they wanted to take away the heat and the speculation and all the scrutiny from the children. Because especially when Dr. Jessamine was spotted at the courthouse that one time, and then the news was leaking, people started going after their kids, and it's just not nice. And people started speculating, oh, did he cheat? Did she do that? Did she do that? Did she do that? So sometimes you have to get ahead of the news, right? And do things. So really, that is where, especially when I'm in news, you really have to sort of like start to you take the news and then you sort of craft it and try to make sure that it's more palatable or more digestible or more okay
for the consumers.
For the consumer. And you, of course, try not to make it yellow journalism.
Yep.
You try not to make it clickbaity.
But that's what usually happens. Yeah.
Right? We say with best intentions, but sometimes at the end of the day, it doesn't work out that way.
Yeah, understood.
But therein lies like where work is just so like, it's just that constant grind. You just don't feel like you're not, it's just why. But then when it comes to our own lives, when people say work-life balance, it doesn't necessarily mean like, for me, it doesn't necessarily mean like having the equal time to be able to do work and this. No, the quality. I think for me is the quality of work and quality of life. So for me, it's that work-life balance, as in the balance of quality. So putting more quality in my life. Because I put quality in my work. I do my best. I do my best for me, my team, and overall, right, for our viewers. But we also do now. I want to concentrate. Now I have been concentrating on doing quality for my life, right? And concentrating and being more happier, being a bit more, which is why I picked up motorcycling. And
I want to touch a bit upon that. You mentioned earlier that you want to enjoy your life more and you want to focus on your quality of life some more.
Yeah.
You're part of a Harley-Davidson group, right?
Yes,
Malaysian group, because my dad is a Harley-Davidson fan.
Oh,
And so tell me more about your experience in that group.
Yes. So again, when you join motorcycling, right, especially when you get your B full license and things like what bike and things like that, normally people, especially somebody as young as me, right, normally wouldn't necessarily think Harley-Davidson.
Yeah.
But a friend of mine, so I was already riding, things like that. I started riding, I know this is out of nowhere, but actually for quite a while, from 2014 until 2017, I was in the States. Right?
Yeah,
so you also experienced the States, right? When you went and worked there for your thing and whatnot. So actually, for quite a while, I was studying here, and then I went to the States and I kind of worked, kind of eloped.
Yes.
Right, and then I came back, and then I'm working here now and things like that. But getting back to motorcycling. But it was here when my friend he started getting into motorcycling, and then Rizrin, he got him Harley-Davidson. Because his dad got him a Harley-Davidson.
Wow.
Whatever. And then he convinced me to get a Harley-Davidson. And so to get into a Harley-Davidson, the reason why is because I like the more chill ride.
Yeah.
Sport bikes, fast.
Yeah.
More, you're in the bike. It's much more visceral. But Harley-Davidson is laid back, chill. and you ride together. Not to say you can't ride together with a sports bike, but sports bike you're supposed to main lah, supposed to play, right? But Harley-Davidsons, you're supposed to look good, feel good, chill. Yes, you vibrate a lot, especially my first bike, the Dyna 103, 1,690 cubic
Is yours the
inches.
monkey bar or is it the
Monkey bar? It was the monkey bar.
Wow.
It was a Dyna, a Street Bob 103. It's basically the bike from
Street Bob, I know that. Yeah.
the bike from Sons of Anarchy, right? But from there, so once you get a bike, you are considered a hog. You are a Harley owner. You're part of the Harley owner group.
Oh,
right?
that's
So
what
you're a
hog
hog.
stands for.
Yes.
I thought it was some term that they just coined out of nowhere.
Because we're a bunch of.
Yeah, right.
No,
Yeah,
I mean, okay, first of all, haram, right, here in Malaysia, but no, but yes, hog. We hog the lane. We're hoggers. But yes, Harley Owners Group. But from there, you can join MCs or MGs. What are these? Are motorcycle clubs or motorcycle groups, not gangs, even though they do look like that, even though we do look like them or things like that. But yeah, unless you're talking about 1%ers, okay? So yeah, inside this motorcycle culture. See, earlier we were talking about cosplay culture. Now we're talking about motorcycling culture, specifically motorcycle clubs, MCFG culture, right? Especially patched culture, where the vests. This culture came from the States, and it's all over the world and things like that. But we don't necessarily do like what the riders in the States do, which is warring and drugs and peddling and illegal stuff. What we do, Kings MG, I'm part of a motorcycle group called Kings MG. We do charity. We're an officially registered group, and we do charity. We do rides. We do convoys. We're just about 200 members all over Malaysia and Singapore, and we are just about to celebrate our 10-year anniversary this coming September.
Nice.
With our Kings annual ride. Of course, if I wasn't gonna do the Deadpool gimmick, I was gonna wear my patches to the show and things like that. But yeah, but getting into a motorcycling group, I think that's something like cosplay, something like if you were to join a church, for example, something like if you were to join some large group or join a hobby. It's finding a group, a community.
Yeah.
That is for me. Some people join these things for connections, right? You wanna rub shoulders because who else buys Harley-Davidsons, right?
Yeah.
Dato, Datin, yes, female riders. Dato, Datin, politicians, lawyers, doctors, policemen, businessmen, business owners, influential people, things like that in the industry. I'm not necessarily influential, just industry. But but for me, it was finding a community, a like-minded community, finding a place to belong. So other than cosplay, I found a place where I belonged here because I found people. It didn't matter Tan Sri or Dato, Datin or what. We're just Harley owners. We lepak, we chill, we santai. It didn't matter. We don't necessarily even call ourselves that. Hey, Dato, no. Hey, bro, hey, what's up, man?
Uncle.
Yeah. What's going on? Oh, I'm hiding from my wife. Oh, okay, cool. Right? And things like that. And yeah, many a times it is that. Yeah, wives hiding from their husbands and because, things at home, right? You want to just get on your bike and ride.
Yeah.
And things like that. It's that escapism, that control. And that's one of the things I got from motorcycling.
I see.
That control in my life back.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure you guys know, right? I'm sure you guys know is being stuck in the jam. Jeez, man. Malaysia has gotten, like, especially Klang Valley. Going in and out, trying to explore and chuti Malaysia is getting worse, especially after pandemic. Like, how do you even enjoy your country when you're just stuck in the jam for the majority of the hours in the day? Right?
Yeah.
You're just stuck sitting down in the car and things like that. So for me, motorcycling really. And then through that, being in a motorcycle group. But to share more of my experience, is it badass? Hell yeah, badass.
Yeah.
Wearing the leather vest, having the patches, going to certain places and people be like, "Oi."
Yeah.
Even when I'm around like rumpits, like Wangsa Maju, like straight up like a bunch of like they won't touch you. there's also a mutual respect. It's not like I look down on them, why so cool? And they look at me like, hey, mahal gila, bodoh, gemuk. No, we're riders together, but at the same time, it's like you know, we respect each other. We're whatever, we look out for each other, blah 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 blah. But getting back to like, and then like having the patches, hanging out together, or riding together, convoying together, pros and cons, right? I'm sure some of you have experienced us on the road, and you're like, why are you guys hogging the lane and things like that? I get it. Some groups, unfortunately, are not trained. My group is trained. Like me, I'm actually a trained EMS and safety rider and marshal, because we went for official certification and classes and things like that. And we learned how to convoy. And we learned how to convoy respectfully. So we learn how to make sure that everybody's kept in line. We learn how to make sure that when we change lane, we make sure that we're not disrupting everyone. We learn how to change, we learn how to, for example, escort cars. If we've got 200 bikes on the highway and we don't have police escort. Sometimes we do have police escort if it's an official ride, whatever. But if we don't have police escort, we want to make sure that other road users, the Alphard, the BMW, the Myvi, the King. He wants to go fast on Karak North-South Highway. He wants to go to Penang for whatever reason, right? We will make sure that they'll be able to still go while we don't block them, right? Because at the end of the day, we all pay our road tax. We have to respect each other. Yeah. There are some riders, there are some Harley-Davidson riders out there, any bikes, not just Harley-Davidson, who hog the road and they don't care. They stay on the right lane. They don't move for shit. And that is bad. You should move. If you're going slow, you move.
Yeah.
And it's safer. And in all honesty, it's safer. Just stay in one lane, in the middle, or the left, or the emergency lane, right? It is much safer for you, for everyone, especially if you're in a convoy, right? But if you can go fast, if you can move, if you guys are disciplined enough to communicate with each other and tell each other, guys, there's a car coming, he's on the way. We can see it in the mirror. We're not even waiting for you to come up on us. We can see you in the mirror. We signal to the head of the convoy, the arrow head. We have to cut lane. So we find an appropriate place to start cutting. Then everybody start cutting to the left. Then the car can go past, right? For example. At the end of the day, it's respect. It's ride and respect. That's one of our motto at King's MG. But it is badass.
A bit of a plug.
It is, a bit of a plug.
No problem,
but
right?
It is badass. Like, and you know, dude, like, I don't know, how old is your dad?
I think he's like 62, 63.
We have members who are also that age. Like, I mean, you know, if ever. But does he know how to ride?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Just
Imran.
Uncle, Mr. Khan, Mr. Khan, right? The great Emperor Shao Kahn. Mr. Khan, if you're interested, like, get a Harley, and then you can join, because that's actually one of the things. You cannot join these kind of groups without a Harley Davidson.
Yes, he has two. I think.
He has two Harley Davidsons?
Yes, at one point he had two. I think he sold one. He has one right now.
You have one. And you don't have to join us. You don't necessarily have to join us yet. You can just ride with us. So right now we have a thing called #RideWithKings, because it's really just opening it up, being a bit more open, because we are very multiracial. We're not like there are certain groups that are, especially 1%ers. There are certain groups that are basically they have criteria, right? They have very like strict, maybe Malay only, Chinese only, Indian only. They have very strict criteria how to join the group, whatever. But for King's MG, look at me. I've got colored nails, long hair.
Yep.
I am English, German, Filipino, and I am part of a group. And I've been there for about 4 or 5 years, I think, since 2020, 4 years. So it's a multiracial group. And my Malay may not be so good, but they have really catered to me and took care of me, good care of me. And I learned a lot. So not only of learning a lot of Malay culture from Malaysian culture from you guys, growing up with you guys and whatnot, but also learning from them as well and things like that. So really, just really opened up my world, really opened up the use of the bike. See, many people have different uses for the bike. Some people use it for work and just for work. Some people use it for commute, just for commute. But I use it also for leisure and community. So it really opened up the use of the bike for in terms of leisure and community and things like that. And then it also opened up my socials. It also opened up my viewpoint. But I think the biggest thing out of everything that I just mentioned, it opened up Malaysia.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I've never really experienced Malaysia, like, not necessarily like culture, but experienced physically. Seeing different parts of Malaysia, seeing and eating and breathing and living, like literally staying in these places and these cultures or whatever. If it wasn't for the bike, if it wasn't for the patches, if it wasn't for King's MG, it wasn't for Harley-Davidson.
Wow. That's a good segue to possibly like the last question, right? Because I think us here today, three of us, we are like a testament to the uniqueness of Malaysia. People who are from different backgrounds, from different race. I think today also we covered a lot of interesting topics in terms of growing up in, environment where you mingle with different people.
Different races and religion.
Different races and religion.
Actually, can I tell you a quick
sure.
example?
Yeah.
Right? Okay. One of the best examples I can give actually for growing up in a Muslim country and is right, especially and not necessarily knowing the customs or whatever, is when you guys have to fast, when you puasa, right? The month-long puasa and things like that. I know you guys have to puasa. I've grown up.
Oh yeah,
right?
You got told off, right?
Yes, correct. So I'm going to tell a story of how I got told off.
Okay.
So I stay in Melawati, so I know, okay? But I was in college. Okay, I was with my friend Bazli Zulkifli, right? He's also a fellow Melawatian. He stayed behind Kemansa there. What's it called? So we were on our way to college. We stopped by the Shell with the MACD on MRR2. Once you exit Melawati, Shell MRR2, the MACD there. And we were filling petrol, right? And then because it's early morning, Bazli is fasting and he's okay with me. He's okay with me eating and whatnot. So basically, yes, I was the type to basically like, if generally it's okay to eat in front of you guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
Generally, right? Generally, of course, right? Of course, now I know, right? Not generally, but generally in terms of my friends, the people I knew, people who I was surrounded with by the time at the time, no problem. But when I went into the Shell to buy bread and coffee, right, and then I started eating and drinking or whatever, and because I'm brown, right, I'm brown, brownish. In the States, people thought I'm Mexican, right? But here, Mexican, I can't. No hablo español.
Yeah.
But yeah. This guy, he was dressed in the long, maybe kind of looked like an imam, imam-looking guy.
The bearded imam.
Came out of nowhere and like, hey, kenapa kamu tak puasa? I was like, whoa, oh. And this little Filipino boy, like, and I didn't have long hair or colored nails or anything. Back then, I was like short hair, very good looking.
Now still good looking.
Good looking tailor's boy, teenage tailor's boy. And like suddenly just, kenapa kamu? It's like, whoa. Oh my God. And because, again, my Malay is not so good, but, at the same time, I'm stunned. And my friend, Bazli, oh my God, he had to come in and save me. Oh my, because he saw me. He literally came in and like, no. Dia
bukan
Christian. Yeah, dia bukan Muslim. Dia bukan Islam. Dia Christian. Dia Filipino. Oh. Ni kenapa dia makan ni? Oh.
And that's strike two.
Yeah, strike two.
Strike two.
So yeah, then so instead of it de-escalating, he got angry.
Yeah.
That I was eating in front of him.
No, he was angry because he got called out for his stupidity, and he's doubling down.
I mean, yes. Okay. So again, as much as I want to say yes, but at the same time, he assumed, right? But that's the thing, right? In Islam, you must watch each other, right?
I'm not the best person to
are not
ask
the best
that
person.
to ask that question, right?
But I have spoken to quite a few, and some of you do tell me that yes, you have to watch each other. If somebody just happens to be doing something that is not right, you would say something.
Advise.
Even so, that should not be the way to
It shouldn't
approach
be. It shouldn't be. Of course. At the end of the day, but But therein lies that experience. It's like Buzzley coming to save me and basically taking me out. And Buzzley was like, oh man, I want to punch him, whatever. But I was like, no.
Shout out to Buzzley.
Yeah, shout out
to
Thank
Buzzley.
you, man. But yeah, and he saved me. He saved me and whatever. And he was very pivotal. You know, he told me there is one day. See, I thought I knew Islam. I thought I knew Muslim. Right? Not Islam, but Muslim, right? I thought I knew my Muslim friends enough. He told me there's one day in the year they can eat pork.
Nah.
What?
I think that's bullshit.
Of course that's bullshit. Duh. But I believe that he was tricking me. He was tricking. He's just tricking me.
Yeah.
But I thought it was real.
Yeah.
But I just didn't know when it was.
Yeah.
And I was like, really? Oh, okay. That sounds weird. I thought you guys are always like, it's haram.
Right.
But he's just playing with me because he's a very playful guy.
I think now for you, right, you can say that, you know, Islam or Muslim, it's not just like a monolith, right?
No,
It's
no.
very diverse. There are Muslims with different, you know, temperaments, different, temperaments, different ideology, different perception, different, you know.
I know that it sometimes also it depends on how you read.
The text.
Yeah. How you read the Quran.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
How your ustaz reads the Quran to you.
Yeah.
For example. Right?
Yeah.
They could interpret it one way.
Yeah.
And then give you their interpretation.
Yep.
Compared to another ustaz in, for example, Gombak. If your ustaz is in JB and your ustaz is in Gombak, and they are giving you two different interpretations, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, yes, correct. It is not a monolith. It is not a...
Correct, yeah.
But I think one of the things is that, especially for us modern, or you guys, right? That you guys respect, right? You respect. I think one of the wrong things that we've been teaching people, not we as in generally, not only just Islam, but Christianity, but Malaysians. It's a bit of a serious point, but I think the wrong thing that we're teaching people is acceptance. Sounds hot, right? Sounds like a hot take, but I think we shouldn't teach people to accept. We should teach people to respect. Because there are certain religions that can't accept. Right? It is by design.
I see your point, yeah.
It is by design certain religions cannot accept. For example, Christianity in some form or manner cannot accept LGBT. Right? Correct. But we can respect people who are more inclined to be LGBT. So the same thing is if you're a Muslim, a person of Islamic faith, you can't accept LGBT, but you will respect. You know that okay, you do your thing. It's because at the end of the day, that is what they do, right? What those people are doing. If that is what the Christians are doing, that's what the Christians are doing. If that is what the Buddhists are doing, that's what the Buddhists are doing. But I do Islam. I do my thing. I do not accept it, of course.
Yeah.
But I also don't, bash it.
Understood.
I don't criticize it. I don't cut it down.
I want to add something
respect
before I go to my last question about that, right? Because talking about this LGBTQ, me growing up in Malaysia.
What's your pronouns, bro? Zerzin?
I'm him. I am him.
I am him.
Get it?
Shit.
Right? And please chime in also, Imran, right? Because what I notice is that I've been growing up and I've been growing up around like people who are gay, people who are trans, right? You see like trans people working in mall, trying to sell the perfume, whatever. And nobody said shit, right?
Nobody said shit. Like you've seen all the P. Ramlee movies, the old movies?
Yeah.
Classic movies and things. You see classic media, you see TV3. Some of the greatest producers and whatnot in Finas have been, is friends.
I think Yasmin Ahmad was.
Hey, don't. Allegedly, whatever.
We're not gonna say. We're not gonna. But they're there.
Yeah,
they're there. LGBT is there. LGBT is around. But
and I wanted to add, right? Like you always know that Malay girl who is not really a girl. She's very tomboyish, but she's a lesbian, and she also has like friends who are like other Malay girls or like hijabis or whatever. And nobody said anything. We know that she's a lesbian or whatever, and we always know that flamboyant guy who's very soft. We know that guy is gay, but nobody said anything, right? I think this whole anti-LGBTQ within Malay community is just like something that exploded in the media, right? When you have like talking points, you have people sharing their opinion, and then it got to the front news. But in reality, nobody gives a shit.
And as a viewer, if you're starting to say what media? No, it's true. Because obviously like it's through the media that we're like sharing all the opinions of the people who are saying all these very sharp things, very, very bad things or whatever. But it is really in the past like 5 to 10 years that really this push of anti or whatever, but it works both ways.
Mm-hmm.
It works both ways, because for LGBTQ people as well, right? You must also accept that people won't you don't have to accept, right? At the end of the day, they won't accept you, right? But you can respect them. But the thing is that the LGBT, they want to find a place where they belong. They want to feel like they belong. They matter. They are legit. That's why they're always pushing for legitimization. They're always pushing. See, that's the act of pushing the agenda towards people who cannot accept, right? By design, by culture, by religion, they cannot accept the LGBT. But because the LGBT is like, no, it's 2024. It's 2024, baby.
Yeah.
You should accept us. You should accept zim, my pronouns, and things like that. And again, I say it in all respect. I'm not
homophobic.
I'm
transphobic.
not transphobic, or
You're
not,
an ally, basically.
Yeah, I am an ally. Definitely. Come on, man. And not necessarily. But I am definitely an ally, and I definitely respect them. I definitely respect where they're coming from and things like that.
Yeah.
But you cannot push it. You cannot. But unfortunately, especially in the West, it's being pushed like nobody's business. And of course, because our media, we are very westernized, we feel like because it's being pushed there, it's also being pushed here.
Yeah.
And of course, when people go for events and sermons and things like that, or during the next political cycle, how else are you going to rile up your supporters?
Get it.
You're going to say things like, they've come here to take our people. They've come here to take our pride. They've come here to take our children and make them gay and make the water gay and the frogs gay.
Yeah. Look at these three straight guys talking about
this stuff. Right? But look. At the end of the day, hey, really? Are we three straight guys?
I think you're talking about yourself.
No, but again, the main thing here in Malaysia, how you want to do it, how we want to move forward. And I think this is for everyone. And parents, especially parents, teachers, ustads, priests, whomever, we have to not push accepting, we have to push respect. It's very hard to push accepting. We've been trying to push accepting for how long? We've been trying to say, hey, Muhiba, multicultural, literally one of the greatest races of all time, Baba Nyonya, is more or less dead. The greatest races of all time that made the greatest food of all time.
Yeah.
Baba Nyonya, bro. Chinese and Malays are making the
They be banging, man.
Yeah, and they made some of the best art, architecture, food. We're doing a story right now and things like that, and celebrating and things like that, cultures like Baba Nyonya. Not to say it's completely dead, but it is a dying.
Yeah.
But it is so beautiful. It is the best of us. But in the past 5 to 10 years, the push for I'm not going to say the push for one religion, but basically the push for extremism, right, has been dialed up to 100, 200.
Yeah. I think it goes back to what I mentioned earlier about the algorithm, the rage bait.
Yes, the rage baiting, right? So in the comments, you can already see a lot of people that, literally the type C thing or whatever, it's all small things. These are really small things, right? Yes, okay, let's go. Oh man, damn. I don't know if we have time, producer. Okay. Like the sock issue. The sock issue, yes, it's bad, right? It's socks or whatever, but it's like 5 socks in a box in one outlet, but it blew up. Like people started demonstrating and throwing Molotov cocktails at two branches of the
KK mark.
And they threw at the
mark.
wrong mud, but they threw a speed mud.
Yeah, they threw.
Oh my god.
I wasn't aware of that.
There's even one viral
Was it?
video.
Oh my god.
There's one viral video where people were all demonstrating. They were outside 99 speed mark. Wrong one, guys. Wrong
Dude.
color, right? But yeah, that extremism has been so hot, has been so big, has been building up, and that hate as well, that interracial hate. It's true because a lot of Malays they felt at risk. They felt at risk.
Threatened.
Why? Yeah, they felt threatened. Why are these racists? Why are these people doing this to us? But then the Chinese and the Indians are like, huh? Eh? And line also is like, well, nobody really gives a shit about us, so but like really, and it has really grown, and it has affected others, right? It has actually that anger and that hate has affected others. So even others who don't necessarily have any skin in the game, so to speak, but they feel tense
I see.
already.
Yeah.
Because the entire media, the entire landscape, political landscape, mediascape has been feeling political, social, economical, been feeling tense.
Yeah.
All right. So that's where respect
It's
needs
needed.
to come back. Not
That-
acceptance. Because we cannot accept, but what we can do is respect each other.
I've
Right? I respect the Muslims for fighting for what they believe in and fighting for and defending their way of life, so to speak, and things like that, right? I mean, it's their right to do so. I respect that, but I cannot accept it sometimes when it goes overboard and it is directed towards a certain religion or a certain race just because, right? Just because the Chinese seem to be drinking or the Indian happens to be drinking, for example, because we take part in things that are haram. You know, it's not right to simply just go, because many a times those who are caught drink DUI is Muslim.
Okay, I
But we
do
can't
not have
necessarily
the
get to
facts,
that.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
We need
Yeah.
a fact checker for that.
But at the end of the day, it's about respect.
yeah.
It's about respect.
What I wanted to say is that I've never really heard anyone put it that way, right?
Yeah.
As eloquent as that. And I think that is the right way to go, right? Because like you said, we've tried this acceptance route for
For
too
longest
damn
of
long
time.
and
Longest
never
of time.
work.
In
Maybe
schools, we should accept. We should
Yeah.
accept. No, we should respect. We should respect the differences.
Yeah, true.
Revel in the differences.
Correct.
Revel that
Correct.
they are just different.
Yeah. And I think maybe let's just try to wrap things up because we've talked about a lot of interesting topics today about races, about politics, about media, about community, but all of them are connected to Malaysia, right?
Yes,
and maybe we can have like a rapid fire answer, like question answer. And I think the last question is like, are you hopeful for Malaysia? Maybe we go this way where I give my own take first,
please.
and then Imran, and then you, Lewis. Am I hopeful for Malaysia? Yes, I would say so, because obviously when there's going to be a demographic change, there's going to be people with different mindset, people with different belief, right? And I feel people of this generation or younger, like Gen Zs, they're very westernized and they are quite aware of the injustices that's been happening, not just in Malaysia, but also around the world. I think once they get older, they're going to have like greater wisdom and they're going to try to, push things to be better economically, politically, socially. So, and also I feel like we're on the come up in terms of economic, especially under the new prime minister. But it could be perception. I don't have, enough details about that. But from
we've got some Silicon Valleys.
yes, right. So that's
some
good.
Silicon Valley.
So that's good. I hope that it keeps that way. And yeah, I feel hopeful for Malaysia. What about you, Imran?
For the most part, I do feel hopeful as well. I think it's largely due to globalization as well, because we are kind of have to also accept, like you said, respect people from other cultures and races as well, and other views. And we are kind of getting economically slightly stronger.
Yeah.
Ringgit is going up, and yeah, I would say I'm hopeful for the most part. There's going to be pushback for sure every step of the way, but we seem to be persevering so far, and it seems to be much more open towards it. Can't say much about it, but I guess for the most part, I would say I'm hopeful. And things will happen, but things will change for the better.
So 2 out of 3, hopeful. Let's hear the final take.
Final take from the
Don't be a
Eurasian.
contrarian just because you're
The
a contrarian.
Eurasian. Hard to say, man. Very hard to say. You know why? Is globalization really still going on now? Do you not notice the fires going on all over the world? See, it's that looking at the world that way and basically be like, I'm not necessarily like saying like we're all gonna die, it's all negative. No, but you have to look at what's going on in the global stage right now. Everybody's closing their borders again, and wars are going on that you would think would never happen. You would think Russia and Ukraine is impossible, right? But how is it possible? How did it happen? Right? And it's still going on. Right? That is crazy. That's crazy. Modern day war shouldn't be able to happen, especially with social media. Literally being able to talk to a fellow soldier on WhatsApp. Right? Imagine a Ukrainian soldier talking to a Russian soldier, or before the war breaks out. Right? Before they even fighting hand to hand on the battlefield, right? They could literally be like, I don't want to fight these old people's wars. I don't want to, man. I just want to go and drink vodka by Chernobyl and just enjoy my time playing Call of Duty. I don't want to fight and die for these people or whatever, these politics, but it's still happening. And it's still going on. Even when sanctions, what does sanctions mean? When what does UN mean? Is UN strong? Does UN matter? It's when Palestine, until now, how many deaths, destruction?
I have a lot of issues with
Does the UN mean it? Remember in the movies, the UN, the World Court, CIA, FBI, they meant something. Secret Service. Now the Secret Service doesn't mean jack shit because they couldn't even. They're all just words. They're all just Hollywood shit. They're all just propaganda. They're all just a bunch of people trying to figure out what to do. They're like you and me. The UN is like you and me, just on a higher stake, higher level, smarter, of course. And all you know, they might watch this video and be like, somebody might clip this, send it to them, and be like, wow, these guys are idiots. It's much more complicated than that. Yes, it is very complicated than that. But that's where I'm getting to. That's why globalization has gone down. It shouldn't have been so complicated. If globalization really did exponentially grow, it wouldn't have been so hard for countries and whatnot to just come up with solutions. But, man, ego, a mix of religion and ego and this and that or whatever, and boom, boom, bam, boom, bam. There you go, right? So yeah, and then zooming back into Malaysia, because I'm going from the world, because of that, our youth, right? They're now glued. A lot of kids now are stuck on their iPads and whatnot because both mother and father are working full time. They don't have time to take care of the kids. They don't have money to pay for a maid. So who's gonna take care of the
Children.
the children, the grandparents? What if the grandparents are not around or not able to, or So of course, what will take the place of the father and the mother? The phone, the iPad, or like maybe our generation, the TV did, or the comics did, or the games did, right? But now it's the iPad and what are they watching on the iPad or whatever? YouTube Kids, TikTok, and what is on YouTube Kids / TikTok? The videos he was talking about, those dancing videos, those weird stuff. Skibidi toilet, yeah, bussin'. Like really, a 2-year-old knows what skibidi toilet, skibidi, hey skibidi. But right, and they're stuck, and they cannot, and they grow up with this. And okay, then like Lewis, why don't you take away the iPad or whatever? So there's also the other camp. If you take away, for example, the games, the iPad or whatever, they will be behind their compatriots in school. because everyone else is going through that as well. All the other kids are also growing up with iPads, and they're all growing up with Roblox and Minecraft and whatever game that's hot right now, right? And if your kid doesn't grow up with Minecraft or Roblox or whatever game that's hot right now, they are the outcast.
Hey,
Then
yeah.
Hey, yeah.
I had to.
That is awesome. And then those kids will grow up, and you want to give your kid as much advantage as possible in the playground, right? The proverbial playground, because now it's cool to know Captain America compared to back then. If back then you knew Spider-Man, right? I'm just, it's not that extreme, I hope, but in today's world, if you don't know Roblox, if you don't know how to play these kind of games or whatever, or you don't know the famous streamer or whatever, and yes, again, streamer. What are these kids growing up with? These streamers, and what are these streamers talking about? Right? Quite. Either it's left or it's right, and it can be both sides of the extreme, right, and things like that. And they're growing up with that. So yes. All the old farts are going to die, and they're going to be taken over. They're going to be taken over by our generation, and then they're going to be taken over by that generation. By that generation, if they grow up with all the acceptance, not respect, then there's no hope. Because we're still an Asian society, there will be a pushback. Because as we grow older, we also tend to be a bit more... maybe a little bit more conservative, a bit more not that radical, not that easy to, not to say we're suddenly like, I don't accept, no, but it's just that we're a bit more in our ways because we've grown up and, this is how we are, right? And then it's always a change of seasons. It's always a change of cycles. The youth will always seem different and crazy and whatever to us. Just like how we used to seem crazy or whatever. I used to be, my parents and people used to be like, Louis, you crazy doing cosplay or whatever. But now people be like, oh wow, cosplay. I walked in here and one of the producers is wow, cosplay. What cosplay you do? But back then it's like,
apa ini?
Costume. Like a clown,
Yeah.
So every cycle, and it just depends on the temperament and of that cycle of the next generation or whatever.
I see.
And I feel the next generation, because of the algorithm, the addictiveness, the extremity of it tends to produce a lot of very, very. See, I can't really say it, but I don't know the right word, but
Friction?
They're very
Okay, understood.
volatile. A very volatile generation.
So basically, you're kind of reserved as well about the hopefulness of the country.
Yeah.
I get it.
So
It is possible. It is very possible because again, they're growing up with a more Western, I guess, ideal. But what's happening in the West right now? It is all over the place.
Yeah.
So I am hopeful, but with a caveat. In the caveat that we have a part to play.
Yep.
Me and you. We and you. You, Rakyat, the relatable Rakyat.
Listeners.
You have a part to play in this. For the future of our generation, we have to make sure that they respect each other above all else. It doesn't matter whether you're white, brown, black,
Ini Malaysia
hijau. It doesn't matter whether or not you are hijau. All right? You must respect one another. That is the most important thing.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we go to the mama. We sit down and eat, we chill, we talk cock. Right?
Which we'll be doing after this.
Yes, we will. Right? Because there's so much more. Right?
Yeah.
And that's the best part.
Yeah.
And then we say hello to the ane. We say no to that guy who's smoking because he's not supposed to smoke at the table.
But the ane didn't care though.
But the ane don't care.
The ane didn't care though.
And it's this back and forth of just like and then at the end of the day it's like, and then somebody will be like, man, I wish we were like Singapore, and then people be like, what you want to be like Singapore, like high rate of suicides and stress and you can't even buy a house and you cannot even chew gum. But then another person be like, but it's clean, there's no trash. at the end of the day, it's respect.
Okay.
And I hope that our next generation will be more respectful than us. And not accepting.
To wrap it up.
Yeah, I love
Respect.
that. I love that perspective. I love that revelation about respect and
That and basically it's a call to action. Instead of like just being hopeful,
Yeah.
I think it's our
Duty.
job, our duty.
2 out of
Say
3 in bed.
What
2 out
to
of 3
do?
in bed.
Work-life balance, right? Now, quality work, quality life, and now
It's okay. I think today we covered a lot of grounds,
A lot.
and I really, really had fun talking about all this stuff. And I really, really appreciate your insights, your revelation, and basically this, call to action for our dear listeners to, get into gears, get into your boots, like be relatable, stay relatable, right? Thank you so much, Lewis, for joining this
thank you very much for
episode
having
today.
me.
yeah.
Thank you very much for watching.
Yeah.
A great show.
Yeah.
Second episode. It's an honor to be here. It's
Thank
an
you,
honor
thank
to
you
be
so
here, and
much,
Thank you very much. And yeah,
I'm still miffed we didn't get Ryan Reynolds. We got Catfish.
Oh, come on. Oh my God.
We want Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
I regret. No, it was a mistake coming here. Come on. Can you call Grant? Man.
I think that's all. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for the next episode.
Yes.